Thank you very much. My name is Nate. I'm from Tennessee, and I always like when I meet people and they hear my accent because they're always like, "Hey, where are you from?" I'm like, "Tennessee." They're like, "That's cool. I got a cousin that lives in Florida." I was like, "What?" All right. Are we just naming states? Is that what's going on right now? Is his name Kevin? Because it's not Kevin. I don't know who it is. I'm not gonna lie to you. I gotta go. So good talk, though. Nice hang. My last name is Bargatze, too. I'm Italian. But here's the deal. I'm not accepted by the Italians because of the way I talk. It just doesn't work out. Like, I couldn't go to the mafia and be like, "So what are y'all doing?" What's happening? I like spaghetti. I would like to join. I like what y'all are doing.
I don't know if anybody's like a prostitute here. I would figure some of you, most of you. All right. All of you? Oh, well, all right. Here's it's a rough time for prostitutes because, one, the economy is not that good. And if you're a prostitute in New York, you're getting murdered. So that's a lot too, you know. But if I was always like, they did just have a bunch of prostitutes get murdered in New York, and I was thinking like when a cop goes and walks up on someone that's been killed, it sucks because you have to go. I mean, the person's dead, that sucks, but then you got to go tell the family, and that's like horrible news. But if it's a prostitute, that's double the bad news. You got their family doesn't know they're a prostitute, so you got to go up and be like, "Oh yeah, your daughter's dead," and it wasn't going that good to begin with because she was a prostitute. So, yeah. But I thought about it. I go, all right, if you have to do that, I think the best way to go about it is like you should like when you go to the door, open with the prostitute thing, kind of get the ball rolling a little bit. You know, you're like, "Look, sir, I hate to say this, but your daughter was a prostitute." Because then every father's going to freak out and be like, "I can't believe I'm going to kill her." Then you're like, "Oh, that's actually, that is it. It's crazy that you brought that up without me saying it." We're doing homework too. Our daughter's starting to bring it all home. Homework's fun. First and second grade was awesome. Third grade, you're like, okay. They throw some stuff in, you're like, "Oh, all right. It's, okay. Learning it earlier than we used to, huh?" I don't even know if that's true, but she brought home Common Core math. That's fun. It's a new math they invented. No heads up, just give it to parents that never learned it. It's just a whole new. I mean, it's unbelievable. Why when they bring it home, you got to watch a 40-minute YouTube video on Common Core math? I don't even understand it. If you know it, if you don't know Common Core, it's just a new math. And the goal of Common Core is to use one sheet of paper for every problem. You just want to keep breaking the problem down. You put the problem at the top, and it just keeps going. And then what's even funnier is you see old math in the middle of it. As you break it down, old math gets in there, and you're like, "Oh, just do that at the top. I don't even know what we're doing." And it's not like old math isn't working. I mean, old math's doing. I don't get incorrect change everywhere just going, "This stupid old math." It's a long way to get at the same answer. I told my wife, I go, "It feels like if you knocked on my front door and I opened it, and you said, 'Can I come in?' And I was like, 'Do you mind walking in and coming in through the back door?' And you'd be like, 'Does the front door not work?' I'm like, 'No, it works. I use it. A lot of people still use it. But the new way is to go jump the fence and come in the back and meet me at this same spot." Do you remember Cecil the lion? That lion that got killed by that dentist? And people got upset, you know? They like, "Can't do that." And all I thought, I was like, what are the odds the one lion you shoot, everybody was like, "It wasn't Cecil, was it?" That's unbelievable. That's the worst luck. Both of them have the worst luck possible. There's 30,000 lions left. There's a 1 in 30,000 chance you shoot a lion and the whole world's like, was it Cecil? That's our best friend. We watch him every day. And it's like, he was like, "I don't know, it was a lion, dude. They look like lions. They didn't have something special, you know? Make them stand out if we love one. You know, give them a hat. I don't know, like." So I was born in 1979, and the reason I say that, because if you are my age or just right around my age, very like maybe 78 to 80, you might realize, or maybe you don't know, I've never been called a millennial or Generation X. I've never even really heard any of those terms growing up. And now you hear them all the time. So I looked it up to try to see, I was like, what am I? And I'm technically nothing. I'm on a cusp. I'm a generation gap. And what we are called, Zennials, or we're called the Oregon Trail generation, or we are called, my favorite name is the lucky ones. And it's true, we're very lucky. We actually grew up in two different worlds. When I was a kid, I grew up like it was the 50s. Like you would go outside and your parents just didn't know where you were. We went to school and played Oregon Trail on a computer at school. No one had a computer at home. It's like, what are you, a zillionaire? Like, I mean, you could. But then in high school, I had AOL. You know, we had a computer at home. Then I got a beeper. And then I got a cell phone. I didn't have social media until I was 26 with MySpace. You know, I mean, social media, like, whatever I did in high school is a rumor. It can't ruin my life. I don't believe in science. I just, like, it's like I don't understand it, so it's easier not to believe in it. It's just it's a quick, they could be making stuff up, you know? I read that they said, like, cockroaches are, like, 350 million years old, and it's like, are they, or do you know? I don't know how to go figure that out, because that's what I think you're doing. I think you know that I wouldn't even have a clue to start to figure that out, or want to, so you're just throwing numbers out at me, and I just go, all right. I guess that's what they told y'all in school. Pluto's not a planet. It's not been a planet for a while. That's how long I've been out of science. Because once they did that, they're like, you can't just jam Pluto down my throat my whole life. And then right when I get out of school, you're like, we were just kidding about Pluto. That affected me, you know? Like, in elementary school, I got a C because I forgot to put Pluto. And turns out I should have got above an A. That's what I should have got. I should have probably been teaching the class because I nailed it years ago. I never believed in Pluto. So, said it's too far. I go, you guys will see. Yeah. Me and my wife, we were in Nashville last summer, and we went out on the lake, and we were like floating around the water, and there was a guy in a boat like right next to us, and my wife was like, oh, that's my ex-boyfriend in that boat. I didn't know who he was, so she didn't have to say that at all. She was just basically like, are you having fun? Because I like to put a stop to that and make you stare at this guy the rest of the day. So I'm like staring at him, and then I look at my wife, and she's staring at him, and I feel like she's staring at him to see what her life would be like if she didn't marry me. My friends were like, you should have went and tried to fight him. And I was like, well, I would have had to swim over to that fight. So I don't know how intimidating that is for a guy to see a head in a life jacket floating his way. And then I gotta get in the boat, you know? Like, if you ever try to climb into a boat from water, it's not aggressive. It takes an hour if no one is in the boat. If he's in there, I'm never gonna get in. I would need his help. I'd be like, could you help me into this boat? I can't tell you why, but I really need in this boat. We're trying to discipline her, too, and it's hard to discipline kids nowadays. You know, you can't do it. You can't spank them. You can't talk about it in a microphone for sure. So, it's like, what do? You gotta hope it works out. Spanking got like blown out of proportion because like you would see like a video of a lady like fighting her kid in a Walmart parking lot, and they were like, "No, you're not supposed to spank." You're like, that was a regular fight. That's not like what we're talking about. I was spanked. My generation was. It was fine, you know. You ever talk to really old generations? They just act like they were beat with bats. They say stuff to you like, I don't know, that doesn't sound like that should have been happening. You should have called the police or something. Like, the police would hit us as well. Everybody was hitting us. We had to put our dog down recently, and it's a tough thing to do, you know? Nothing was wrong with her. I'm just really busy right now. And she was very sick. That was a joke, all right? That was a joke, and she would have loved that joke, so don't you worry about it. That's the type of humor she had. She was a rescue. It's not your labradoodle humor, all right? It's a little darker. She was a wonderful dog. We loved her, and her name was Annie. And the reason we got her was my sister worked at a vet, and people do put dogs down for no reason. So if someone brought a dog in that was fine, they just didn't want it. My sister couldn't do it. So she would walk the dog back and then just steal the dog. I don't know the laws on all that, but I'm sure now people are finding out that their dog's still alive right now. They're like,